I know for many, the past 2 years have been difficult. So much change, so much uncertainty, so much pain. We tend to look at what is missing in our lives, what we do not have, or what we can no longer gain, especially compared to Christmas 2019 before the pandemic. If we look instead and compare to the Christmases of the 1920s, we will see we are really quite abundant with more than what is under the Christmas tree. In the 1920s, if you can imagine, not everyone had a tree, nor had electricity to light it. You only had a tree if you had one on your land, farm, or yard because you could not buy it. The tree was not trimmed with glittering ornaments, ladder, silver, or gold, but with string, popcorn, and paper chains handmade by the young all the way to the very old. Stockings, mind you, were not hung by the fireplace with care. Why? Because you needed them in the morning so your feet and legs were not bare. If you were lucky, you found one filled with homegrown apples or walnuts at most, and often tied to your doorknob or the nearest bedpost. As I think of my favorite tradition, the tradition that never goes out of style, it is the tradition of giving. Because I usually don't go home for Christmas, I've started my own tradition of giving that sends me home in my heart and is part of my joyous celebration. I make 25 homemade Italian mascarpone cheesecakes, and I deliver them to neighbors and friends. It warms my heart and it warms the hearts of those who receive my cheesecake. What is your gift of giving? No matter how tiny or big, no matter if homemade or bought, if bagged or wrapped in red polka dots, the tradition of giving never goes out of style and is the best gift of all for the biggest holiday smile. Matt, what do you have for your holiday traditions?
That was lovely, Kimberly.
Thank
So,
you.
speaking of Christmas lights, I have very fond memories of putting up lights at Christmas. Our tradition was to jump in the car, drive up to Petaluma, go to a Christmas tree farm, and cut down a tree, which we would bring back and then decorate with these big, colorful light bulbs. And then around each one of the light bulbs, we would put spun glass. So
Yes.
it would light up with this big glow, and it was just so colorful and festive. And one of my favorite memories from Christmas. And to this day, I love lighting up Christmas. We put lights in our room, we put lights on the tree. I have lights on the house. I even light up some trees outside of the house. And then on the lawn, we have this big Frosty the Snowman, which lights up, and all the kids in the neighborhood love. And, in these, the shortest, darkest days of the year, it's so nice to have all of these lights around us to make us feel festive and in the holiday spirit. So, Twana, what's on your mind this holiday season?
Oh, I'm absolutely loving today's conversation. The Roaring Twenties have been characterized as a time of hope, prosperity, and cultural uplift. Mass production of consumer goods contributed to a booming economy, which manufactured deferred spending. You want that new automobile? Get it on credit. This was a time of dancing, hence, music adaptations proliferated across the country. Witness the ushering in of the Harlem Renaissance. Political and economic growth stimulated a new fabric of America. And I quote, the US became the richest country in the world per capita, and since the late 19th century, had the largest in total GDP, end quote. This was a time of hope. As we close out a roaring 2021, forging into a bountiful 2022, leaders capitalize on this season of hope. Stimulate a culture that reaps the benefit of change. Craft a business plan that captures a new way of doing business, one that lights up everyone's tree and builds memorable traditions and makes sure it's a good time for all. Make sure that your plan sows belongingness, fulfills client and customer demands, and achieves your goals and objectives. We wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa. 'Tis the season.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.